Okay, back here to TinyT. I did the mulching. I want to show you what that looks like afterwards. And what I've kind of done here is just piled up around the trees, and hopefully that keeps that cold air out away from that grass. So this top part probably will freeze off, but hopefully there's enough there that it will come back and survive this year's freeze until I can get a greenhouse or some mini greenhouse put over those, which will be a later YouTube video here. I did want to show you TinyT is a project we just started, and one of the things I was very adamant about when we started this is making this for self-survival if something happens, and it isn't hidden away from anything. It's just I want to be able to have food and be able to produce food, kind of like when I was a kid. We used to raise most of our food in a garden. We'd have half an acre of garden, just about, or a third of an acre put up in garden. A lot of that is what we depended on for food. And so one of the things, I can put in a garden. That's an annual thing, but not being around here full-time yet. My wife is pretty much, but I'm up here part-time till I retire here in a little bit longer. And one of the things I wanted to do was start some of the long-term things that take a while so that they're ready when we are up here all the time. And the things that we don't have to be here daily or weekly necessarily, well, probably weekly we're up here, but daily don't have to tend to with hoeing and stuff like that. And one of those is trees. So if you can see here, I put in a line of trees here at TinyT, and all these are fruit trees. And the first one here is apple, or the first couple here are apple. That first one that we're looking at, and the second one right behind it, there's an apple tree. Then over here is a peach, I believe. I'm gonna have to get these down on a grid so I can see. Yeah, that's a peach. So I'm going to try and get names of these so I don't have to wait until they fruit out to tell. I can kind of tell by the leaves, but there's some different varieties. That's kind of nice. If you start planting these, I'd get a map and put them down on papers and their location, so you know what you have planted later on as they're producing. We go, what kind of nectarine is that, or what kind of peach is that? And this way you'll know. So I got an apple tree here and a peach tree, and these are all things I like especially. Here's another peach, and the tags off of that, but I remember what it is. I put the peaches next to each other and the apples kind of next to each other. Here's an apple and apple. They say, even though these are self-pollinating, they say they do better with another one next to them. Even though they can produce by themselves, I forget what that term is, but they can produce fruit without another tree. They do to have heavier fruiting when they do have one variety next to them. So if you have two apples, they'll produce better than just having one apple. And that's true of most of your trees and plants that way. So here's another one. This one I believe is my, let's see, plum. This is my plum, so I got a plum here. And this should be another one over here, if I remember right. Let me check. Yep, another plum. So here's the two plums. I'll probably write these down. So I got plums, I got peach, I got apple, all things I like. Then I got the two avocado that I'm protecting here. And then this is a pecan tree. Texas is kind of famous in this area for pecans. So I want to make sure I got some pecan trees. Hopefully these aren't too close to my avocado. I kind of did that because I wasn't real sure if they're going to survive the freeze. I thought, well, I do want to have them something here, so I put the avocado kind of close to these pecans, which are a large tree, a lot larger than the apples and the plum and the peach. But that way, if they do die off, they got room for these pecans to spread out. Otherwise, I'll be transplanting these someplace else if they do survive, and when these get a little bit bigger. So here's another pecan tree, and so I got two pecans there, and then I got down here a pear tree. This is supposed to be self-fruiting. I will be getting another pear tree. I had one in a pot, but it died off and didn't make it. So whenever the trees come out again this spring, I'll be getting another pear and also a few others, and continue on down this line, fence line. I kind of like to have a windbreak, so I'm going to be putting trees down this side. Don't know if I'll go all the way down through the hayfield. I'll probably stop short of the hayfield because I do want to keep that in case I get animals and stuff. But I'll probably go down there next to the bank down by the creek. Do have a dry wet weather creek down there, and hopefully here in some video in a year or so I'll have a pond down there that I'll be doing. A lot of that depends on permits and what's required. I can put one on my property without anything, but I kind of want to keep my property free from that so I can have stuff grown in the field for food. The pond will be a fish pond for having fish in it, and probably tilapia or catfish, something along that line, bluegill, and those types of things. So anyway, this is TinyT here. Just want to give you a look at our project. We've done a lot of remodeling on the house already. We've got over here a water containment system, and I'll go over that in another video and talk to you about that. This is for some, right now I'm using the water that's provided, but eventually I'm going to take some runoff from the roof there into that tank and show you how the watering goes for these trees, because it can get expensive. I'll show you some videos on our other property before we got up here, before we had TinyT. I was doing trees and irrigation down there, so I learned a lot on that on my other trial runs, so hopefully that helps me up here on getting these trees started. But like I say, these are a long-term food source, so it takes a while for these to produce, sometimes years, so I wanted to get these in the ground right away, so even before we started setting up greenhouses for other things, garden and stuff like that, I wanted to get trees in the ground, and hopefully this next year I have, I believe it's 7 more trees coming whenever it gets planting time. So I think that's in the next month or 2 for our area. So they'll be sending those down. And I'll probably keep those in pots for a while until I can get them in the ground and have them survive. So, but anyway, these trees, and I'll have some trees down there more for that I can hopefully transplant from that I planted down there. Otherwise I'll have to be getting new ones. But I want to have some orange trees and lemon trees and stuff here in central Texas, which gets cold, so kind of different trying to grow that stuff up here. But I have plans for a greenhouse that I can heat during the winter, hopefully cheaply with some alternative energy, and keep fresh fruit, because one thing I miss about for our other house is down where along the border, southern border, it's warm enough that we can have that kind of stuff. We can have citrus and different things. We do get freezes down there a little bit, but not so much. Let me turn this way. How do I do that? Can't figure it out. Anyway, but I'll turn around. Hopefully I get a selfie of me, and you can see who talking to you here from TinyT. So anyway, that's all for now from TinyT. Wish you all a good day, and talk to y'all later.